Today is all about grill covers. I've got 3 questions to ask you before you buy your first grill cover. Welcome to our Wednesday quick griddle tips and tricks. Today is all about the grill covers. So, really quick, I'm not going to bore you. I do not want to disrespect anybody that sees this video, but these are the common questions I get. Hey, I live in Pennsylvania. What type of griddle should I get because of the weather? Hey, I live in Missouri. I live in Florida. It doesn't matter where somebody lives. They think that where they live is different than everybody else. And the reality is, there's no doubt that once you spread across the country, you do have different humidities, different rain patterns, different weathers. I used to live in Wyoming. I wouldn't necessarily say that we worry about rain. We worry about a lot of dust. Everything gets dirty because there's so much wind. I would probably say anywhere between that Mason-Dixon line that runs north and south. Typically it runs east and west. I'm just kidding. The Missouri, what's it called? Mississippi River. Anything east of that is going to have humidity.
Little geography lesson.
Anything's going to have humidity, right? We live in East Tennessee, and it's just as bad as Florida. We don't get the salt water, but it's just as bad as PA. In the summer, it's hot. In the winter, it's cold, okay? So today's about grill covers. I just want to go over a quick 3 little things. When you think about getting a griddle, number 1, you think about a griddle or grill cover. Hence, first thing you think of is buying the tarp, buying the plastic, whatever it's called. Does it do its job? The answer is yes, but I have some problems with it, okay? This is designed to protect the moisture from coming down. I've always said with griddle cooking, and I truly feel like the reason why a lot of griddles rust is because of moisture. But moisture can happen in many different ways. If you think about what a griddle cover does, it protects the moisture from coming down. But what protects your griddle from the moisture coming up? If you store your griddle on gravel, what if you store your griddle on the grass? What if you store it on your deck? Luckily enough, I do have a covered porch. But as you can see over there, all my griddles are exposed to the weather like most people's griddles and grills would. They're sun bleached, some leak, some don't, and I've never really had an opportunity to say I swear by one brand, whether it be a manufacturer brand or whether it be an off brand. I think all griddle covers face extreme temperature changes, and I just don't think they're made to last a whole lifetime. You get a couple seasons out of them depending on where you live, and after that it's just about replacement. So then it comes to cost. The reason why I say that is because as moisture happens, you can imagine evaporates. If moisture evaporates from the ground up, whether it be the deck, your gravel, your stone, your porch, whatever. Even my deck here is covered, right? I don't get a lot of moisture right here. But the way the water runs underneath, the way the wood absorbs water throughout the year because of humidity, there's no doubt that there is some humidity that rises up. So if your grill cover is made to protect moisture from coming in, imagine what it does to the moisture trying to escape. There's no way that moisture escapes. So once again, you have humidity in it. So you can imagine as the water evaporates and it comes up, it gets trapped in your cover, and then all of a sudden all that moisture is available to be on your grill or griddle. Number 2, when it comes to lids, I know a lot of people say, do I need a hard cover or soft cover? Here's some things to think about. I take my lids off for filming purposes only, not because I like it better. Not every griddle is the same, so if you put your griddle cover over top, you expose your grease trap right here. This is where my grease trap would be. It's being cleaned right now. But just because it protects the moisture from getting on the top, doesn't mean that moisture can't be put inside, and that's a perfect example of how moisture can leak inside. Second of all, this is not airtight. It's never meant to be airtight. It's not sealed or anything like that. And you'll be amazed how much moisture, humidity, can get inside of a griddle with a lid on it. I'm referencing the Solo. Now this is stainless steel. You don't have to worry about rust as much, but see how there's holes inside there? Like I said, each griddle model is different, so all that moisture has a chance to get inside your griddle or grill. When people talk about price and what type of griddle they want to buy, there's a lot of times people will say automatically that this griddle right here is too expensive. Well, one of the caveats, one of the bonuses, one of the pluses, you don't have to worry about it being exposed to weather and rusting near as much as you would on a rolled stone or cold stone, or hot rolled or cold stone, golly.
Rolled steel.
Thank you. You don't have to worry about it, the rolled steel, whether it be hot or cold, as much as you do the stainless steel. Stainless steel is naturally rust resistant. Now, that doesn't mean you can abuse it and stuff like that. This is almost maintenance free. You're going to clean it just like you would like a skillet inside, where this takes seasoning, maintenance, and you are worried about rust. One quick thing I forgot to mention. This is not the only model of the Blackstone that would have this problem. But you can see that if your griddle was left outside without a hard cover and it rains, and you left your grease pot here, that could fill up with water. If you didn't empty it out that day, then all of a sudden you're pouring grease after it overflows on top. Obviously, oil floats higher than water, whatever it's called. So that's a problem. On the Blackstones where the hood hinges like that, that's always been a problem, to leave outside. Obviously, if you take this inside every single time, then you won't have the problem. But I know for a fact that there's people out there just like me that's had it happen where you just forget about your grease cup. It rains, that thing gets full, and the next thing you know, you got grease going all over your deck, stamped concrete, or even your grass or your rock. And that, of course, can lead to predators and mice and everything else. Last but not least, you guys have to bear with me. This is a silicone mat. Of course, it's not a silicone mat. I don't even have a silicone mat, and I was not going to buy a silicone mat for today's video because I do not truly 100% believe in the logic. Not only have I had them, I've tried different brands, and I'm still not sold. Here's a few reasons why. Number one, when the silicone mats are made, they typically only fit a Blackstone. They are not popular enough now to where you can get them on the Camp Chef, although Camp Chef makes them. Your Webers and stuff like that. And the reason I think is just because it hasn't really matured in a way that fits globally, right? So it's typically geared towards a Blackstone. So I feel like that alienates a ton of griddle users. What about your Members Mark? What about your Sam's Club, or the other one, Next Grill, right? What about your Pit Bosses and stuff like that? If this is a silicone mat and it's perfectly fit for this griddle, what I found was if I set my griddle out there and did not cover it again and relied on the silicone mat to do its job 100%, you're still facing or fighting the same things. When this would come up to the side like this, I would still get debris and moisture all over the cracks. When you would raise the silicone mat up, that moisture would be underneath, and once again, you're exposing your griddle to moisture. Did it keep moisture off of 99% of the griddle? It did. But the hardest places to season on a griddle are the sides, right? Typically, your hot spot is almost the width of this cardboard, which is why I have it. So anything that's exposed to the outside is a harder place to season, especially on the Blackstone. You're introducing the moisture. The one thing that I found truly that I did not like was, as you know, you keep your griddle oiled, whether you store it long term or short term. So right now I've got a thin coat of oil, leftover fats on my griddle, okay? Once you put your silicone mat down and it fits perfectly in its place, guess what happens? The silicone mat does not absorb, but it gets oily on the bottom. And whether you roll it up or whether you set it to the side, whether you fold it, it does not matter. Piggybacking off of what I said earlier about where you live, don't we live in the most pollinated place in America?
Yes.
Yeah, our pollen, everything's green for certain.
Don't move to East Tennessee if you have bad allergies.
We're in the valley, it gets stuck, and it is extremely hard to get out of here for until we get some really good rain. But everything is green, right? Take the pollen out. What if you live in Wyoming? We talked about how dirty it is because when the wind blows and the dirt kicks up, everything gets dirty. I can imagine Florida being the same thing with a saltwater spray and stuff like that. When the back of this gets oily and you set it down anywhere for a day or for a week or whatever, you'll be amazed how much stuff sticks to the outside of your silicone mat. Then all of a sudden you put your silicone mat back on your griddle, that's clean, and then all of a sudden you're introducing a ton of pollen, dirt, and debris. That's what I found. That was my true, I'm done with this, because I felt like before I even had to cook again, I had to clean my griddle again. You'd run your hand down on the silicone mat and it'd just be full of junk and debris. I didn't like it. My wife just asked me, so what's my recommendation? I don't have one, because I think it really depends on what nuance you're in. No matter what decision you make, I do feel like using your griddle is your best way to protect your griddle, right? If you abandon your griddle for months on end, I think that's when the problems occur. So when I hear people storing their griddles for like 9 months in Canada and they come out and this is like a disaster, I can understand, because the griddle hasn't been used. It's one of those pieces of equipment that the more you use it, the more protection it has, and you see the small things happening before the big problems happen. I think the response is it depends on each person's individual reasoning behind it, right? If you live in Florida and your griddle is exposed to weather year round, then obviously I would prefer a soft cover and a hard cover that comes with it. I don't prefer the silicone mat in any situation which you're in. And then, if you're covered like I am and you use it quite often, I don't even think you need a soft cover. You could literally just put your griddle here, put the hard lid on there, but just make sure you're using it. You know, check it out once a month or once every 3 weeks if you're not using it, and that should be good. So with that being said, one last caveat. Most of my grills are matching with grill covers, just what type of person I am. The reality is I'm not scared or ashamed to go aftermarket, whether it be, I think one of them was on Amazon like King Kong or Kong, and the other one's like Grill Mate or Grill Man or something like that. They seem to be pretty good. Just to mention grill covers, right? I'm not specifying one company or the other. I do find the Webers are typically lower priced, but they do a really good job. I find the Traegers probably be about more expensive. For example, my Ironwood XL pellet smoker is about $159 when you look online quickly. You can buy several different options for about $40. So even if that grill covers last you 2 years, then of course you could get 4 years out of it. I don't know if the pellet grill will last 8 to 10 years. Some do, some don't. You know, it really depends on if you're going to trade them out or not. I did notice before I came out here, I researched Blackstone griddle covers on Amazon, and one of them, you guys can do your own research, actually had vents inside of it built in. And I was like, finally. I don't know how well it works. I even might get one to test it myself because I was curious. And the reason why it excited me because it was $28 for a 28-inch griddle, but it was like 1,000 meshed where it didn't rip, and it was double tape, seamed. It seemed like a really good grill cover, but it had air vents built in, and maybe that would relieve the pressure of all the humidity coming up and escaping. Remember, you protect it coming in, but all too often that stuff gets trapped inside. So there's our quick Wednesday upload. I know it's a lot of verbiage. I don't have a lot of overlays to bore you.
Ooh, there's a bug on me.
That's what we should show right there. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to press that subscribe button, pound the notification button, share it with friends. Peace.